Back in the day Bartley officially announced Althea, Twitter crashed, and everyone was cursing Althea. When they broke up later, Twitter crashed again, and everyone was still cursing Althea. Hello, everyone, welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful stories every day. Now the story begins. 3 months after the breakup, Althea received a batch of her own funeral portraits in her DMs. She picked out one of them, handed it to her agent with a smile, and said, "Destiny. This photo is perfect, use it for my tombstone later." Destiny's eyes instantly reddened. "What nonsense are you talking about?" She gently draped a thin blanket over Althea's shoulders. "Don't read these private messages, they're too filthy." Althea curved her eyes into crescents. "It's fine. It's not the first time anyway." After chatting with Destiny for quite a while and finalizing her retirement announcement scheduled 3 days later, she walked out of the talent agency. City A was blanketed in swirling snowflakes. Althea, bundled in a thick down jacket with a mask and sunglasses, spotted Bartley's concert tour photos displayed on a distant billboard screen. Caption: "The top star returns." The driver asked her, "Going home?" Althea shook her head. "To the stadium." Today is Bartley's first day of the tour concert, and the stadium is packed with adoring fans inside and out. Fans dressed in snow-white wedding gowns, their eyes brimming with tears. "Bartley, we love you. Bartley, you still have us. Don't cry. Bartley, you haven't aged. You'll always be our top idol." Althea stood at the farthest corner of the concert venue, only able to see Bartley's familiarly aloof face through the giant screen. The man had grown noticeably thinner, yet remained as handsome as ever. Althea and Bartley had been in love for 7 years, but just 3 months ago, she unilaterally broke up with Bartley. She even posted the breakup tweet immediately. "We're not compatible, we've broken up." For a moment, the entire Twitter went down. What followed was an onslaught of endless insults and curses directed at her. Many online speculated that Althea had grown tired of Bartley being too old. Bartley is 8 years older than Althea. Althea is 26 this year, while he's already 34. A top star remains a top star, age doesn't change that. After the concert, Bartley's fans were in tears. Meanwhile, Althea wore a relieved smile. Her phone vibrated. When she opened it, there was a message from Bartley. "What are you doing here?" Althea only then noticed the camera had unknowingly panned to her. Her fingers trembled as she typed, "Congratulations on remaining evergreen." A reply came swiftly, "Unnecessary. Your congratulations are more than I deserve." Althea stared at the text message for a long time before finally turning off her phone, returning home from the concert. A man in a baseball cap stood leaning against the wall outside her apartment, his figure tall and slender. Althea met his deep, penetrating gaze, and her heart skipped a beat. "Bartley." Bartley's eyes reflected Althea's slightly pale face, a mocking smile curling at the corner of his lips. "What's the matter? Seeing me still thriving, having regrets?" Althea felt a lump in her throat, then forced a bright smile. "Of course not." Her hands trembling as she opened the door, she said, "Haven't you seen the online expose? I'm with Charlie now. Charlie is the hottest star right now, while you, Bartley, are already a faded top celebrity." 3 years ago, Althea met the popular male star Charlie on set, and they were even caught by paparazzi going over scripts late at night with Charlie. At that time, Bartley, as Althea's official boyfriend, silenced all the media and posted on Twitter, saying he would always believe in Althea. But just 3 months ago, Althea had just broken up with him. She was then caught by paparazzi leaving a hotel hand in hand with Charlie. The once top-tier Bartley Twitter was flooded, with half of the comments expressing concern and the other half mocking him. They mocked him for being cuckolded, yet he offered no explanation, made no public statement, vanishing completely from the public eye for 3 whole months. So when he appeared before the crowd today, all his fans were moved to tears. "Althea, you're still so pragmatic." Bartley let out a light chuckle, his unfathomable gaze resting on Althea with none of the tenderness it once held. He said calmly, "Still, I should thank you for helping me see the truth of human nature. I came today to tell you that it took me 3 months to accept that you don't love me, and another 3 months to make peace with you. I no longer love you either." Bartley. After Bartley left, the spacious apartment became eerily silent. Althea couldn't resist picking up her phone and opening Twitter again. Still 99 plus unread messages. Every random one she opened was filled with curses. "Althea, how fun is cheating? Should we stitch up a certain part of you?" The words that followed grew increasingly vile. Althea mechanically clicked through each one before deleting them. Today, Bartley's concert even trended on. 2 of the trending topics were about herself. Bartley's concert, ex-girlfriend Althea made an appearance. "Big Bro is still the top star. Althea must be drowning in regret." Bartley's fans left comments under the trending topic. Some washed-up starlet, gold digger, stop clinging to our idol. Our brother has always kept a low profile. Some thought he wasn't popular anymore, but reality proves that gold diggers will reap what they sow. Back then she climbed up using our Bartley. Now that she's found someone new, she just kicks Bartley aside. Anyone who gets involved with this kind of woman is doomed. Manually tagging Charlie. Perhaps it was too quiet in the room. Althea couldn't resist teasing these netizens. Typing with trembling fingers, posted a Twitter. Wanting to marry someone rich and famous sounds a bit gold-digging and snobbish. But wanting to marry a penniless poor person, you should probably see a psychiatrist. The 1 a.m. Twitter instantly became a trending headline, only it trended because people were slamming it. Althea faced off against millions of netizens alone, and unsurprisingly, her Twitter account was reported for violating public order and morals, resulting in an indefinite suspension. The nights of the past 3 months have been exceptionally long. Althea tossed and turned, unable to sleep. When she finally managed to doze off lightly, she was abruptly awakened by the panicked voice of her agent. Destiny. Althea. Althea. Althea groggily opened her eyes, only to find her bedsheet stained crimson. Destiny, why are you here? I called you, but you didn't answer. I was worried something had happened. Destiny's voice trembled uncontrollably. Althea comforted her. Just my old condition. Sorry to worry you. I'm fine. After changing into clean clothes, she followed Destiny to the company. Though it was only early winter, Althea was bundled up in layer upon layer of thick clothing. The other celebrities at the same company sneered at her appearance, each making sarcastic remarks. Green tea bitch, White Lotus, who knows what Bartley sees in her? Look at her pretentious act, it's disgusting. Charlie just got famous and already hooked up with her. Wonder if she's got something special down there that others don't. Althea glanced at them without anger, offering a gentle smile instead. Perhaps because I'm more resourceful than you all. Want to learn? I'm taking paid apprentices, 1 million per person. Offer expires soon. As soon as she finished speaking, she looked up and saw Bartley stepping out of the elevator. Althea's beautiful eyes widened momentarily before quickly regaining their composure. As if nothing had happened, she greeted Bartley. Bartley. Bartley paused mid-step. When he looked at her, a trace of mockery surfaced in his eyes. Althea, we're over. Exes should act like they're dead. With that, he walked past Althea without a second glance. His assistant Ella stared coldly at Althea. Bartley is going to City B for a tour the day after tomorrow. He said once he leaves, he'll never come back. Althea, if you have any shame left, stop mentioning Bartley. Bartley once said something when he was dating Althea. If the two of them didn't grow old together, he would disappear forever from Althea's world. Bartley officially announced his relationship with Althea at the peak of his fame. During their 7-year relationship, he proposed to Althea 5 times, all unilaterally. Yet all 5 times, Althea turned him down. Outsiders claimed Althea feared it would harm her career, that she was keeping her options open, and now, just as predicted, it's come to pass. Althea appeared indifferent to Ella's words as she followed Destiny back to the office. Destiny, her eyes slightly reddened, handed her a document while asking, "Are you really going to donate all the money?" Althea took the document. At the very top of the document, 2 stark words were written, "Will." She nodded. "Yes, 10% of it, you take it." Destiny choked up, her voice thick with emotion. "Bartley is leaving the day after tomorrow. From then on, you'll be separated by the north and south, and might only see each other on TV." Althea froze for a long moment, silently organizing the letters from fans in her drawer, letters written to her in the past. After a long silence, she finally said, "Some people lose their connection, and even living in the same city, it's hard to meet again." Destiny could say no more and could only change the subject. "Anger harms your health. Don't argue with people online anymore. Your Twitter account got banned, and the farewell post scheduled for the day after tomorrow." Althea interrupted her. "Then let's not announce it. I'll quietly leave the scene, and one day in the future, I'll amaze everyone. How does that sound?" Her eyes were shining brightly, unaware that her words would one day come true. After working together for so many years, Destiny could no longer hold back her tears. Okay. When leaving the company, Althea only took the letters her fans had written to her over the years. Everything else she left behind, though it was only early winter. The cold had become unusually bitter lately. Althea gazed at the blue sky and white clouds above, lost in thought for a long time. The ringing of her phone snapped her out of her reverie. Althea picked it up and was surprised to see it was a call from Bartley. Her hand unconsciously tightened a little, and it took her a moment to snap back to reality before she tapped to answer the call. "What's up? I'm leaving for City B the day after tomorrow. There's a farewell dinner tonight, you should come," Bartley said bluntly. Althea couldn't help but tease. "Weren't you just saying today that exes are better off dead?" "What? Can't bear to part with this particular ex." Bartley didn't respond, only the displeased voice of his assistant Ella came through. "Althea, come if you want. We've invited everyone to this farewell banquet, just didn't want you to lose face. The call ended, Althea's beautiful eyes darkened slightly. They had an answer for everything. Evening, the banquet. Althea dressed in her finest attire, just as Ella had said. All the familiar faces from the circle were present. Everyone's expressions turned peculiar at the sight of Althea, heavily made up yet not appearing vulgar. Destiny was among them, and upon seeing Althea, she hurried forward. Althea, what brings you here? Althea asked in confusion. What, can't I come? Isn't it just attending the farewell party for an ex-boyfriend? Destiny hesitated to speak. She was about to speak again when, from the distant front row, the impeccably tailored and deep-eyed Bartley spoke up. Althea is here. Perfect timing. I have an announcement to make to everyone. Althea turned toward the source of his magnetic voice. There she saw Ella walking to Bartley's side, and Bartley said word by word, over these years, Ella has always been by my side. I've decided to give her an answer, to marry her. Althea's mind exploded with a boom at this moment. She understood why Bartley had personally invited her to this banquet. Bartley wanted Althea to witness him being with someone else firsthand. At the farewell banquet, the crowd showed only a moment of surprise before offering their blessings. Althea pretended nothing was wrong and joined the others in congratulating them. Congratulations, Ella is an outsider. Or rather, your assistant of over 10 years. You two make a perfect match. Bartley gazed at her face, his eyes filled with disdain. Of course, she's more suited than you. Althea responded with a carefree smile, unable to utter another word. After the banquet, she walked out of the hotel with Destiny. Standing under the night sky, Althea lit one cigarette after another, chatting idly with Destiny between puffs of smoke. Destiny, he and Ella will surely be very, very happy together in the future. Destiny couldn't find an answer. Althea, maybe you should just. Althea cut her off. Destiny, you go back first. I want to look at the stars alone. The early winter wind was bleak, and the dark night sky didn't even have a moon. Where would stars come from? Destiny knew Althea needed time alone and didn't say much, just nodded. Okay. After she left, Althea squatted alone by the roadside, surrounded by burnt-out cigarette butts at her feet. A small shop by the street was playing a Cantonese song. Love knows no right or wrong. What's past is past, even if the heart cannot suppress its turmoil. Althea couldn't help humming along. Fate knows no right or wrong. Though the road ahead is cold, how can one weather the storm without grace? A figure had appeared beside her without her noticing. You seem to be in a good mood. Althea looked up into Bartley's handsome, mature face. She stubbed out her cigarette, her red lips curling into a smile. You have new people, and I don't have to worry about you clinging to me. Of course I'm happy. Bartley sneered. If you're happy, then what's with all these cigarettes? I remember you never smoked, he added, his eyes seeming to pierce right through Althea. Althea stood up and tossed the cigarette butt into the trash can. What are you to me? Who asked you to interfere? Hearing this, Ella, standing not far away, could no longer hold back and stepped forward, speaking coldly. Who wants to interfere with you? Why don't you look in the mirror? Do you even deserve it? Althea looked at Ella and Bartley standing side by side, and could no longer suppress her laughter. TSK, not even married yet and already being protective of your man. If you care so much about your man, then keep a good eye on him. Don't let him out to flirt with others. I, Althea, am not some virtuous woman. Don't think just because you're publicly together, I'll have any sense of morality. If your man keeps actively approaching me, I might just change my mind. After all, no woman ever complains about having too many admirers. You know, all I have to do is crook my finger, and your man will come running back to me. Ella froze instantly, her face alternating between pale and flushed. She knew better than anyone how deeply Bartley had once adored Althea. Althea was still a famous rising star in the entertainment industry. Her face could stun crowds without makeup, and her figure was absolutely flawless. And I'm just an ordinary person, inferior in both looks and talent compared to the other. If Althea regretted competing with me for Bartley, I'd surely lose. Althea, you're overthinking it. Even if you kneel before me now, I won't return to you. Bartley took Ella's hand and spoke word by word. I, Bartley, swear that I will never love Althea again in this lifetime, and will remain loyal to Ella forever. If I break this oath, may I die a terrible death. Bartley had always been a man of his word. Althea had been with him for 7 years. No matter how small the promise, he always kept it. Bartley never broke his word. Althea watched the two of them walk away together, and only after a long, long time did she return to her own home. Nights are the hardest time to endure alone. Althea often wakes up coughing after falling into deep sleep. After waking, she can't fall back asleep. She opens her phone to see the news of Bartley and Ella officially announcing their relationship. Unlike 7 years ago when Bartley officially announced being with her, 7 years ago, Bartley was at the peak of his fame when he publicly announced his relationship with me, who had just begun gaining some recognition. What greeted me was a storm of criticism. But today, 7 years later, Bartley and Ella's Twitter is flooded with nothing but blessings, wishing Bartley all the best. As long as he's not with that bitch Althea, Bartley must be happy. Bartley made the right choice this time. Ella has silently stood by your side for over a decade. She's the one who truly deserves your affection, Althea thought. A marriage blessed by millions is bound to be happy, unlike hers, which was cursed by millions from beginning to end that could never bring happiness. Althea stared at the private messages filled with the usual torrent of curses and insults from netizens, murmuring to herself, "Too bad my account's banned, can't comment or reply to them anymore." Finally, the long night passed, and the next day arrived. Today was the day Althea and her rumored love interest, the currently popular actor Charlie, were scheduled for a joint interview. Not long ago, they had just wrapped up filming their new drama I Have Departed. And this would be Althea's last promotional event for the series. In the car, Charlie handed a blank wishing charm to Althea and spoke gently. "I heard the temple nearby is especially miraculous, it can make all wishes come true. So I got you one, write down your wish, and it will surely come true. If any place could make all wishes come true, it shouldn't be a temple, it should be heaven." Althea didn't want to be a killjoy. She took the prayer charm with a smile and replied, "Then I'll wish for a lifetime without worries about food and clothing." Charlie was taken aback for a moment, then gazed at her deeply and replied sincerely, "I will." Althea grew up in extremely poor family conditions. She was one of the few who rose from the bottom to enter the entertainment industry. So her first wish that came to mind was simply to have enough to eat and wear. But when it came time to actually write down her wish, Althea wished instead, "I hope Bartley lives a safe and happy life." If wishes could come true, she wanted to give her own wish to Bartley at the last moment. Today's interview was conducted outdoors, with snowflakes fluttering down outside the company. Althea couldn't help but reach out her hand, watching the snowflakes melt bit by bit in her palm. Charlie gazed at this scene, lost in thought for a long time. Althea was interviewed first, and the reporter asked her, "The new drama I Have Left has wrapped up filming. Althea, do you have anything to say to Mr. Charlie, who played the male lead?" Althea answered earnestly, "Mr. Lou is an excellent actor. We've collaborated for 3 years, and we work very well together. If given the opportunity, I'd love to work with him again." As soon as these words were spoken, the media rushed to capture the moment. A reporter quickly pressed further, "Then may I ask, regarding the rumors circulating that you and Charlie couldn't distinguish between on-screen and off-screen roles, have you truly developed feelings for him because of the show?" In a place unseen by Althea, inside a black car, Bartley slowly rolled down the window. He also heard Althea's resounding response, "No, Charlie and I are just ordinary friends. I admire him, but we're not together." The reporter, of course, didn't believe it and pulled out another question card to ask her, "Then may I ask, which period of time in your life do you most wish to preserve?" Althea answered without hesitation, "The winter of 2022. In an instant, everything fell silent. Because the winter of 2022 was exactly 3 years ago, the time when she and Charlie first met while filming the TV series In Isolation. Inside the understated black sedan, Ella sat beside Bartley, scoffing. On one hand, you say Charlie is just a friend, yet on the other, you claim the time you spent filming that series with him in isolation is what you'd most want to keep. Does she, Althea, think the internet has no memory, that people don't remember what she was doing in the winter of 2022? Bartley said with cold clarity in his eyes, "We're leaving tomorrow. There's no need to care about what she says." Ella couldn't bring herself to not care. Bartley was such a good person, you wouldn't find another like him in the entire entertainment industry. Althea treated him like grass, tossing him aside without a second thought. She clenched her fists in secret. After the interview, Charlie bid farewell to Althea. As expected, Althea trended again, still getting roasted to the top of the charts. They say she remains as ever, a habitual liar. One second you said you weren't with Charlie, the next second you gave yourself away. Destiny sighed. These reporters are deliberately setting traps for you. How could you actually fall for it? Have you forgotten, in the winter of 2022, you were filming your first TV drama with Charlie? Althea was stunned. She looked up at Destiny. Destiny, others may have forgotten, but surely you haven't. During winter 2022 when I was filming, the mountains were snowed in, and Bartley worried about me, driving alone to find me. We were trapped together in that mountain cabin for 10 days and nights. That period was the most beautiful memory of her life, in the snow hut. Only her and Bartley, with no one else. Destiny heard this and only then remembered. This matter was known only to Althea and Bartley, besides herself. But how could she have forgotten? She apologized in a hoarse voice. "I'm sorry, it's fine." Althea didn't mind at all, since it was between her and Bartley. She just hadn't expected that not only had Destiny forgotten, but even Bartley, who had spent 10 days and nights with her in the snowy mountains, had forgotten too. It was too cold outside. And Althea was about to return to the company. A figure came rushing toward Althea. Before Althea could react, the person raised their hand and slapped Althea across the face. "Althea, are you out of your mind? Haven't you done enough harm to Bartley? Do you want the whole internet to know that 22 years ago, no, 3 years ago, you already had feelings for someone else? Don't drag others into your own disgusting behavior." Destiny rushed forward when she saw Althea being hit. But it was already too late. Althea felt a warmth at the tip of her nose as blood streamed uncontrollably. Destiny charged forward, ready to teach Ella a lesson for laying hands on someone. But at that moment, a figure stepped forward to block Ella's path. It was Bartley. Destiny watched the scene unfold, furious. "Bartley, are you blind? Can't you see Ella attacked Althea first?" Bartley didn't even glance at Althea, replying calmly, "She deserved it, Destiny. If you dare lay a finger on Ella, just try it." Destiny froze. Once, Bartley had protected Althea the same way, yet now he stood before another woman without distinguishing right from wrong. "Bartley, do you even know?" Before she could finish speaking, she was pulled back by Althea. "Destiny, forget it." Destiny froze again, turning to look at Althea, only to see Althea say to Ella, "Ella, for Bartley's sake, I won't argue with you today. Destiny, let's go." Is this still the same Althea who once feared nothing, who directly headshot business tycoons at corporate gatherings? Destiny's eyes instantly reddened. Althea took her hand and stepped forward, treading on snow-stained crimson with blood. She lowered her voice and asked Destiny, "Did I just look pathetic?" Destiny's throat went dry, unable to speak. Althea's nose wouldn't stop bleeding. She tilted her head back to deal with it, but the next second, everything went black before her eyes. She collapsed heavily to the ground. When consciousness began to scatter, Althea seemed to return to the winter of 2022. That winter was beautiful, with only her and Bartley in the snow-covered cabin. Althea nestled in Bartley's arms and whispered, "Bartley, if possible, I wish to die before you. I'm afraid of leaving alone." Bartley tightened his embrace and asked, "Then what would you do if I died first?" Althea didn't hesitate. "Then I'll die with you." At the time, Bartley didn't take it seriously, but Althea meant every word. Only she forgot to ask back then, if she died first, what would Bartley do? Would he be happy or heartbroken? Would she be willing to follow me in death? Probably not, because her Bartley has someone else now. Tears slid down the corners of her eyes as Althea slowly opened them. She lay on a hospital bed, surrounded by the smell of disinfectant. Destiny kept vigil by her side. Destiny had cried until her eyes were swollen. Seeing Althea wake up, she immediately hugged her tightly. "Althea, Althea." Althea lifted her stiff hand and gently patted her back. "I'm fine, sorry for worrying you." After comforting Destiny, she looked out at the sky again, dark and heavy. "What time is it now?" Destiny replied, "It's already 11 p.m. So late. Tomorrow Bartley is leaving for City B, right?" Althea asked casually. Destiny nodded. "Yes, I heard his flight is at 9 a.m. tomorrow." Althea remained silent. Destiny tucked her in and admonished, "The doctor said in your condition, you can't leave the hospital anymore. I've put all my work aside to stay with you every day from now on." Althea understood everything upon hearing this. She smiled, her face unusually pale. "Thanks to you, otherwise I would have." Destiny interrupted her. "We're sisters. No need for such words." Althea and Destiny weren't just colleagues, they had been best friends in college, back when Althea became a rising star. Her first move was to make her best friend Destiny her manager. At night, Destiny fell asleep in the next bed. Althea lay awake in pain. Her phone vibrated. She picked it up. It was a message from Bartley. "You don't need to fake being sick. Stop acting. A mere slap, could that possibly kill you? Medical expenses and compensation have been transferred to you," followed by a transfer of 200,000. Bartley would stand unwaveringly by whoever they chose to be with. Althea clicked to accept the payment and typed back to him, "You still know me as well as ever. I've taken the money. From now on, keep a better eye on your woman. If there's a next time, I won't let her off so easily." The reply came quickly, "There won't be a next time. Ella and I are leaving City first thing tomorrow morning." Althea typed, "No need to keep reminding me. I won't be seeing you off. I wish you a smooth journey." In reality, Althea didn't sleep at all that night. Early the next morning, Destiny understandingly took her to the airport and made her swear, "This is the last time." Althea smiled and vowed, "This is the last time I'll see Bartley while I'm alive. The next time we meet will be in the underworld." Unfortunately, they never got to see each other for that final meeting. Althea arrived at the airport only to find it completely surrounded by Bartley S fans, leaving no room to pass by the time the plane departed. She hadn't even caught a glimpse of Bartley S profile. As she left the airport, Althea was blocked on the road by paparazzi and Bartley S fans. Althea, were you really with Charlie 3 years ago? Althea, Bartley announced his relationship with you at the peak of his fame. Yet you broke up with him when his stardom faded. Isn't that too cruel? You bitch. Bartley gave you the best 7 years of his life. How could you be so heartless? Destiny, a single woman, simply couldn't hold back these fans and reporters. Althea was never the type of woman to stand behind others. She stepped forward proactively, answering Bartley S fan questions. No, I've said it before, Charlie and I are just ordinary friends. Breaking up with Bartley is our private matter. I have nothing to say to you about it. Finally, I want to say, his Bartley S 7 years are 7 years. But are my 7 years not also 7 years? I was only 19 when I followed him. Was my youth at 19 not also youth? When I returned to the hospital, my already blocked Twitter inbox was flooded with messages again. The torrent of abuse remains unchanged, because the journalists took things out of context. The released video was edited and manipulated. Althea's response became, I've said it before, the matter between me and Charlie is our private affair. I have nothing to say to you. His Bartley 7 years were just 7 years, but I was 19 when I followed him. 19, that's real youth. Even if Charlie came forward to clarify, no one would believe him. This time, everyone online is boycotting Althea, demanding the company blacklist Althea. Blacklist her, the morally bankrupt one with no bottom line. Althea had grown accustomed to it. Less than half a month had passed. All the endorsements Althea had previously secured issued statements announcing the termination of their collaborations with her. Some of Althea's former fans had even turned against her. Once, the TV dramas she starred in were all boycotted and taken off the air. Everyone said she was reaping what she sowed. When Althea was being denounced by all, Bartley, who was holding a concert in City B, called her, Althea, if you had known it would come to this, would you regret it? The man's voice on the phone remained unchanged. Bartley thought, if only Althea would admit her regret, if only she would apologize, he could let bygones be bygones, he could help her reappear in the public eye. But all he heard was the woman's unrepentant voice. No regrets. I've been with you for 7 years, I've long grown tired of it. You've grown old. What's wrong with me pursuing new happiness? Only you men are allowed to cheat. Why can't women find someone new? Why should moral standards for women be higher than for men? We're not even married. Althea enunciated each word deliberately. Bartley clenched his phone tightly. You truly have no heart. Consider what I said today as unsaid. I'm getting married soon, and I won't be contacting you anymore. You take care of yourself. The moment the call ended, Althea lay on the hospital bed, holding the silent phone, only to see her blanket already stained with blood. She wiped her nose. Her hand also covered in bright red. Bartley didn't know that after he left, Althea spent all her days in the hospital. She grew thinner and paler by the day. Even her once most beautiful eyes, Bartley's favorite, had turned dull and lost their sparkle. Althea could only watch Bartley on TV. Just as Destiny had said, shortly after hanging up, she saw live footage of Bartley's concert through trending searches. The man stepped onto the stage, first thanking his fans before announcing something. I've decided to marry Ella next month, on New Year's Day. New Year's Day. Only 9 days left until New Year's Day. Althea didn't know if she could live to witness his happiness with her own eyes. Blood kept streaming uncontrollably from her nose. Destiny was startled when she rushed over to take care of her and saw this scene. How did she lose so much blood? Doctor. Althea gently took Destiny's hand and shook her head at her. Outside, the snow fell thick and heavy. Althea leaned against Destiny's shoulder like that. Whether it was a final rally or not, her vision was utterly blurred, yet she found the strength to murmur to herself, Destiny, do you remember, my hardest year? My mother passed away in a car accident, and less than half a year later, my younger brother left us due to illness. From that moment on, my father never spoke another word. A year later, he was gone too. Destiny trembled as she repeatedly wiped the unstoppable nosebleed from her face. She could no longer make out Althea's words at all. Instead of answering directly, she said, but I don't think Bartley was that devoted. It only took him 3 months to find someone new. Look at him, getting married just 2 weeks after finding someone new. She didn't mean to pierce Althea's heart. She just didn't want Althea to die with regrets. Loving someone who would never love her back. Althea fell silent. She lay in Destiny's arms for a long time before finally speaking. As long as he's happy, that's enough. Destiny's hand, wiping away bloodstains, froze abruptly, suddenly unable to utter a single word. That night was exceptionally cold. Destiny felt for the first time with painful clarity that the person in their arms was gradually turning cold. 3 days later marked the 25th day of Bartley's concert tour. That night, the final concert concluded successfully. Bartley walked off stage and approached Ella. The fans were all moved to tears with excitement. "Bartley, you will definitely be happy. You will definitely be happy." But at the same time, someone at the scene noticed that Althea's Twitter account had actually been unbanned. They swarmed to leave comments under Althea's Twitter. "Our brother is getting married now, do you regret it? He proposed to you 5 times before, and you rejected him every time. Now you've lost your chance to refuse forever. This kind of trash should be permanently banned. Why was she ever allowed back?" Facing the chorus of public condemnation, Althea's personal account, banned for 23 days, posted its first message and obituary notice. Madam Althea passed away on December 22 due to illness. Accompanying the obituary was a Althea's memorial portrait. Her memorial photo was originally photoshopped by netizens. Bartley captured the 20-year-old Althea. In the black and white photo, Althea beams with a radiant smile, exceptionally beautiful, her eyes reflecting only Bartley. For a time, major media outlets rushed to report the news of Althea's death due to illness. Fans at the concert venue saw Althea's obituary. They held their phones in shock. Unable to believe what they saw, they all started commenting, "Evil endures 1,000 years, Althea couldn't possibly be dead. Is Althea faking it?" The entertainment industry has seen its share of faking deaths only to make a comeback later. Is it because you were banned and had no other way out, so you faked your death, waiting for the public outcry to die down before returning? The 22nd was just 3 days ago, wasn't it? Why didn't you post it then instead of now? We're not that stupid. Get out of the public eye, stop hogging social resources, and disappear forever. After all, the former Althea was someone who could say, wanting to marry someone rich and famous sounds a bit materialistic and snobbish. But wanting to marry a penniless poor man, you should probably see a psychiatrist. With values like that, it's no surprise she did unconventional things. After coming down from the concert, it was only when Bartley sat in the van that he saw the obituary topping the trending list. His body swayed slightly, and suddenly everything before him seemed to blur. Is it true, or fake? He didn't know if he was asking Ella beside him, or asking himself. Ella had also seen the news, seen that obituary. Her first thought was that Althea was going to compete with her for Bartley. Bartley, this must be fake. Just over half a month ago, Althea was still perfectly fine, wasn't she? She must have heard we're getting married, that's why she's spreading such false news. How ridiculous, she's fooling us all. Thinking this would make you change your mind. Doesn't she realize the more she acts like this, the more everyone will hate her? Ella held her phone, her voice trembling as she spoke. She didn't dare look at Bartley. Quickly changing the subject, "The tour's over. Bartley, let's go get our marriage license. Bartley, I don't need some grand wedding, I just want to marry you. Let's get married tomorrow. No, tonight. We can register the marriage tomorrow. Okay." She didn't know what to say, she just wanted to keep Bartley. But then, she heard Bartley say, "Ella, I want to go back to City A for a while." At that moment, Ella's tears came streaming down. Bartley saw her crying and reached out to wipe the tears from her face. "I want to go to City A to see if she's still alive." Bartley was so gentle that Ella couldn't bring herself to refuse. Her throat ached as she grasped Bartley's hand. "Will you come back then?" Bartley couldn't answer. Ella suddenly understood what Althea had once said. "You know, all I have to do is crook my finger, and your man will come running back to me." Althea was wrong, she never needed to crook her finger. In truth, all she had to do was give Bartley a glimmer of possibility. Bartley would have rushed back to her side. Ella sobbed uncontrollably. "Bartley, I don't want you to go, can't you stay? I'm begging you." Her voice broke into silence. Bartley gently held her in his arms, comforting her. "Don't worry, if she's alright, I'll definitely come back. But what if something happens to her?" Ella dared not think about it. 14 years ago, she became Bartley's assistant and harbored an unrequited love for Bartley for 14 years, watching him walk with Althea. Seeing him love another woman so passionately, now, at long last, he could finally see her, the one who had always been by his side. She didn't want to lose all this. Bartley stayed with Ella all night. Early the next morning, he still left. Ella sat alone in the empty living room. As if she had even forgotten how to cry, she recalled so many things from the past. She remembered the first time she met Bartley, when the man was just in his early 20s, handsome and radiant. Back then, "I had just entered society and knew nothing." Bartley never looked down on her for it. When working outside, Bartley never put on airs like a celebrity. He would take the initiative to carry things for her and protect her when others targeted her. But sympathy, care, protection, and respect, none of these were love. 8 years ago, Bartley knew he was smitten the moment he first saw Althea while filming on the university campus. Ella witnessed it all. Love is visible. Ella didn't need to ask, she could tell at a glance that Bartley had fallen for Althea. Later, Bartley pursued Althea unilaterally for a year. A year later, Bartley officially announced his relationship with Althea at the peak of his fame. For the next 7 years, Ella witnessed the love between Bartley and Althea as an assistant. Bartley would have given his life for Althea. When Althea caught the eye of a business tycoon, he risked everything, his safety, his future, to ruin the man's reputation. When Althea mentioned wanting to marry, Bartley proposed 5 times. Time after time, his proposals were rejected, yet he never once lost heart. Ella still remembers Bartley's words after his 5th failed proposal: "Marrying Althea would be the happiest and luckiest thing in my life. If it's the happiest and luckiest thing, it surely won't come easily." But this very Bartley, when faced with Althea's unilateral decision to break up, when encountering Althea being involved in scandalous rumors outside, he once fell into depression. Others didn't know. Althea, the 3 months after the breakup, Bartley spent 3 months in the hospital, moderate depression. To have given so much for one person, no matter how impure or wicked that person may be, how could he truly bear to leave her? City A, where snowflakes fluttered endlessly, the vast city seemed draped in a pristine white filter. Bartley called Althea after landing. But the other end of the line only offered a cold, mechanical voice. "Sorry, the number you dialed is temporarily unavailable." He called Destiny again. Still, no one answered. Bartley took a car to Althea's apartment, but when he arrived at the apartment door and rang the bell, a stranger opened it. "Who are you? Where's Althea?" Bartley asked. The man replied, "You mean the previous owner? She sold this place to me. Didn't you know?" Sold? Bartley's Adam's apple tightened as he turned to leave. The man called after him, "Aren't you the big star Bartley?" Bartley didn't answer. The man continued, "Althea isn't worth keeping anyway. She's probably living the good life with some other man now. Modern women are all like this. They like rich men. They like young pretty boys." Bartley said nothing and quickly walked away. Once outside, he suddenly didn't know where to look for Althea. Althea's parents and relatives had all passed away. Her hometown had long been abandoned. She had always lived here. Now that Althea has sold the house, where can she go? He called Destiny and Althea again, but there was still no answer. Bartley had no choice but to call Charlie. For some reason, at this moment, he suddenly wished Althea and Charlie were together. The call finally connected. "Hello, who is this?" Charlie's voice came through. Bartley quickly asked him, "What's the deal with that online obituary? Is Althea with you?" Charlie recognized Bartley's voice on the other end. He paused for a moment before speaking. "Bartley, aren't you getting married soon? Why are you asking this?" Bartley, seeing he didn't answer directly, began to suspect the obituary was fake. He asked in a low voice, "Do you think it's fun to mess with me?" Span. A long silence came from the other end of the phone. Just as Bartley was about to hang up the phone, Charlie spoke again. "It's all true." Bartley was stunned. Charlie said word by word, "Althea is really dead." Receiving Charlie's confirmation, Bartley remained unconvinced. Let Althea answer the phone. Charlie was both amused and exasperated. "Bartley, can't you understand what I'm saying? Althea is dead. She died 4 nights ago. Who would joke about something like this? I'm currently in City A. Althea, where is she? I'll come find her." Bartley's voice remained calm. Charlie hesitated. He didn't know whether he should tell Bartley or not. He was at the cemetery now. After a long, long silence, as a man himself, Charlie chose not to conceal the truth. "I'll send you the address." With those words, Charlie hung up the phone. Before long, Bartley received a text message. The address was the Western Suburbs Cemetery. Bartley remembered it as the burial place of Althea's parents and younger brother. Bartley had an unreadable emotion in his deep eyes as he calmly hailed a taxi. Instructing the driver to head to the address Charlie had sent, snowflakes swirled along the way. Bartley had never felt the road so endless before. He kept opening his phone, glancing at the chat history between him and Althea from not long ago. "You don't need to fake being sick and put on an act. It's just a slap. It's not going to kill you. The medical expenses and compensation have been transferred to you." Following that was a transfer of 200,000. Then came Althea's reply. "You still know me as well as ever. I'll take the money. But from now on, keep a better eye on your woman. If there's a next time, I won't let her off so easily." Followed by my own reply, "There won't be a next time. Ella and I are leaving City first thing tomorrow morning." The last sentence was, "No need to keep reminding me. I won't be seeing you off. I wish you a smooth journey." Bartley read it over and over, but in the end couldn't resist typing, "Althea," after sending it. There was indeed no response from the other side. Bartley couldn't help but click on Althea's profile picture. The original solo portrait had unexpectedly changed. It had become a photo of heavy snowfall. Bartley clicked into Althea's social media feed again. Her posts were set to visible only to me. The profile background shows a cute anime girl with the caption, "Reporting in, I've changed my heart. Don't you dare come looking for me, don't come looking for me." Bartley stared blankly at those 5 words, lost in thought for a long time. "Sir, we're here." The driver's voice snapped Bartley out of his thoughts. As he stepped out of the car, his eyes immediately fell on the 4 characters, Western Suburbs Cemetery. Bartley walked inside. The cemetery was packed to the brim with countless reporters and fans, making it nearly impossible to move. Amid the crowd of reporters and fans, 2 familiar figures stood out. One was Destiny, the other was Charlie. They were all dressed in black uniforms, each wearing a white rose on their chest. Destiny faced the reporters and fans with reddened eyes. "Can't you just let Althea leave in peace? Why did you have to come to the cemetery?" A reporter pressed her. "Miss Destiny, is it true that Althea has passed away? Why so sudden?" "Yeah. Wasn't she perfectly fine just recently? How could her Twitter suddenly post news of her passing?" Some anti-fans joined in the verbal abuse. "This grave must be fake. How revolting, that woman pretending to be dead." Bartley stepped forward slowly, never before feeling his footsteps so heavy. At that moment, a reporter spotted him. "Bartley is here." All eyes and cameras were fixed on him. "Bartley, are you here to see whether Althea's death is real or fake too?" Bartley didn't respond. His gaze slowly fell upon the solitary tombstone behind the crowd. On the tombstone was Althea's black and white photograph. That black and white photo was of her at 20, taken by myself. Destiny never expected that Bartley, who was supposed to be in City B, would actually show up at the cemetery. Charlie apologized, saying, "He called me, and I felt I had to tell him." Destiny knew that even if Charlie hadn't said anything, Bartley would have found his way here. She watched Bartley step by step through the crowd until he stood before her. Bartley swayed slightly, then slowly spoke. "This can't be real." As if deceiving himself, he turned his gaze to the haggard Destiny. "Where's Althea?" Destiny choked up, unable to speak. Bartley asked again, "Althea, where is she?" Destiny's gaze slowly fell upon the small grave. "As you can see, she's gone." Upon hearing Destiny's response, the reporters and fans present immediately started recording. Bartley's eyes were deep and unreadable, revealing nothing of his thoughts. He looked again at the memorial photo on the tombstone, where Althea smiled gently, her gaze faintly capturing his own reflection. "How could this be? Is she trying to force me to come back to her this way?" Destiny fell silent again. At that moment, Charlie spoke up. "Bartley, Althea really has passed away." Bartley finally looked at him, enunciating each word. "Weren't you with Althea? Where exactly is she?" Charlie knitted his sword-like brows tightly. "How many times do we have to explain? Althea and I were never together, to be honest." After working with Althea for 3 years, Charlie had indeed developed feelings for Althea at one point. A beautiful and strong-willed woman like her, who wouldn't be drawn to her. He once jokingly asked Althea while filming the TV series I Have Left, "I think I'm handsomer and gentler than Bartley, and I'll treat you better. Why don't you ditch him and choose me?" At that time, Althea didn't hesitate at all and shook her head. "I have Bartley, no matter how good others are, I don't want them." At that time, Charlie still couldn't quite believe it. After all, Althea and Bartley had been together for years. Even the best relationships grow stale over time. But as he continued interacting with Althea, he came to realize that genuine love truly exists in this world. Bartley felt a pang in his chest when he heard from Charlie again that he wasn't with Althea. He forcibly suppressed his troubled thoughts and looked at Destiny again. "What exactly are you hiding from me?" Destiny hadn't slept well these past few days, dark circles evident under her eyes. "Althea is gone. Just live your life well. I have nothing to say to you." Yesterday's obituary for Althea was issued by the company after they learned of Althea's passing. Originally, Destiny just wanted to follow Althea's wishes and let her pass away peacefully. Little did she expect that news of Althea's death would be caught by paparazzi and even reach the company. Now these people are even blocking the cemetery, not allowing Althea to rest in peace even in death. Bartley certainly wouldn't let it go at that, pressing his questions word by word. "Althea, how could she die, just over half a month ago? She had been perfectly fine. It was she who had told him that she was with Charlie. She clearly said she had been with him for 7 years and had long grown tired of it. She clearly said he was old, and she wanted to pursue new happiness. How could she really be dead?" The surrounding anti-fans and media reporters also pressed. "Destiny, if you don't speak up, it proves Althea faked her death. Have you told so many lies that you don't know how to cover this one up?" Destiny, as Althea's agent, "Isn't it disgusting to put on this act with her? You're all birds of a feather. Althea is such a bitch. I hope she's really dead this time." Hearing these obscenities, Destiny could no longer hold back. "Malignant gastric cancer. Althea was diagnosed with gastric cancer 3 years ago. She underwent surgery, but a year ago, the cancer cells still spread. These two short sentences struck heavily in everyone's hearts, but they still didn't believe it. How could this be? Wasn't Althea perfectly fine before? Yeah, there was no sign of her being sick at all. Using late-stage cancer as an excuse is just too fake. Destiny never expected that even after revealing everything, these people still wouldn't believe her. Some even suggested, let's open this grave to see if Althea's ashes are inside. That would settle it. That's right, let's open the grave and see, if Althea is truly dead, we'll apologize to her. Destiny was utterly shocked by what she heard. Before she could speak, she saw Bartley step forward, his voice hoarse as he said, I need to see if it's her inside. Destiny couldn't believe it. Bartley, have you lost your mind? Althea is dead. Can't you even let her rest in peace? Bartley's face turned pale as he slowly crouched down, his fingertips brushing against the small tombstone. It's her who won't let me have peace. Bartley took a deep breath, his eyes reddening at the corners when he looked at Destiny again. He picked up his phone and made a call first. Clear the West Suburb Cemetery. In less than 10 minutes, a group of black-suited bodyguards arrived and cleared out the antifans and reporters on the scene. Only 3 people remained on site, Charlie, Destiny, and Bartley. Bartley said unhurriedly to the lead bodyguard, get someone, I want the grave opened. Without seeing it with his own eyes, Althea wasn't dead. He refused to believe it. Destiny was stunned once more upon hearing his words. She came to her senses and could no longer resist raising her hand. Slap, her hand landed on Bartley's handsome face. You bastard. Destiny grabbed his clothes. Althea, she didn't want you to know, so 3 years ago, she applied for closed filming. Actually, she went for cancer surgery. We thought the surgery was successful, but we never expected the cancer cells to spread so quickly. Actually, Althea never betrayed you. She loved you very, very much. Are you really going to dig up her grave now? Bartley could no longer hear what she was saying, only a deafening roar in his head. When you first learn that someone important has died, you can't cry. All that remained in his mind was disbelief. Snowflakes fell thick and fast. Bartley kneeling on one knee before Althea's tombstone. At that moment, a figure came running towards them and pushed Destiny aside. Bartley, are you okay? It was Ella. Bartley had not long arrived from City B when she came over too, just learned everything from the trending searches, found out Althea apparently died of cancer. When she rushed over, Destiny actually dared to lay hands on Bartley. Ella pointed at Destiny and said coldly, Destiny, how dare you hit Bartley? Are you out of your mind? Destiny was pushed away, staggering slightly and nearly falling. Fortunately, Charlie nearby caught her. You're the ones who are crazy. Didn't you hear Bartley say he wanted to dig up graves? Ella heard this and saw the bodyguards actually preparing to dig up the grave. Her gaze fell upon Althea's tombstone. For some reason, at this moment, she suddenly wished with all her heart that Althea was truly dead. She must be really dead. That way, she would never have to worry about anyone competing with her for Bartley ever again. With this thought, she took Bartley's hand. Bartley, the dead cannot return to life. How could such a thing be false? Don't be sad. The snow is too heavy, let's go back. Bartley remained stubbornly rooted in place, unmoving. He looked once more at the hesitant bodyguards. Get on with it. Bartley had been a gentle and courteous man all his life. The most rebellious thing he'd ever done was probably digging up the grave of his beloved with his own hands. At this moment, even Ella found it hard to believe. Bartley isn't the kind of person who would do such a thing. What on earth happened to him? Bartley, Ella wanted to say more, but Bartley pushed her hand away directly. It was then that Ella noticed Bartley's eyes were rimmed red. The man's deep eyes churned with emotions she couldn't decipher, making her involuntarily fearful. This was the first time she'd seen Bartley like this, and she couldn't help but take a step back. Bartley stopped looking at him and just kept ordering people to dig the grave, alive or dead. I must see for myself. He couldn't believe Althea was really gone. At the scene, neither Destiny nor Charlie could stop him. Destiny watched this scene, tears streaming down her face. She lunged at Bartley again in a frenzy. Bartley, you bastard. Make them stop right now. Do you want Althea to find no peace even in death? Her voice was hoarse. Bartley remained unmoved as she tugged at his clothes, simply saying calmly, if it's true, I'll go down and apologize to her. Destiny froze. Meanwhile, Ella saw Destiny pulling at Bartley and stepped forward again to help. Destiny, that's enough. Althea was sick. Why didn't you tell Bartley sooner? Now Bartley wants to know the truth. What's wrong with that? Destiny heard her words and couldn't help but recall the slap Ella had given her before Althea's death. Her hands involuntarily clenching tight. If you had made it clear earlier, could you still be with Bartley now? Destiny retorted. Ella was speechless. Destiny released Bartley and continued looking at Ella as she spoke. If Althea hadn't hidden her illness, Would you even have had the chance to be with Bartley? Why don't you look in the mirror? How could you possibly be worthy of Bartley? You must be so happy now. Althea is dead, and you no longer have to worry about anyone competing with you for Bartley. Every word she spoke pierced straight through Ella's heart. Ella fell silent, unable to utter a single word in rebuttal. The snow fell thick and heavy, as if it wanted to bury everyone alive. Destiny and Charlie knew they couldn't stop Bartley, so they could only stand silently by. No one knew how much time had passed, but the graveyard was left in complete ruins, and Bartley saw the small urn placed inside. Accompanying the urn was a beautiful wedding ring. It was given by Bartley to Althea during his 5th marriage proposal. At that time, Althea refused, but she put on the ring and said, "Bartley, I'm not ready for marriage yet, but let me keep the ring. Consider it our engagement." Later, Althea threw away the ring when she broke up with him. How could it still be here? Bartley didn't know that on the day of the breakup, Althea picked the ring back up and silently said in her heart, "I'll just pretend I married you. Bartley, you've seen it all now." Destiny spoke slowly. "Can you let Althea rest in peace now?" Bartley remained silent as he took out that small box. On its surface was written a line of delicate handwriting. "Report, I've fallen for someone else. No need to remember me." Even in death, he had to leave behind those words, that he didn't love Bartley. At this moment, Bartley was certain what lay inside was Althea. Everything he had been suppressing in his chest could no longer be contained, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Bartley, Destiny and Ella were very close to Bartley. They watched as Bartley spat out a mouthful of blood before collapsing heavily to the ground. Bartley woke up again in the hospital. Ella stayed by his side, her eyes rimmed red. Seeing him wake up, Ella quickly grasped his hand and said, "Bartley, you're awake. How do you feel? Are you uncomfortable anywhere?" Bartley gently pulled his hand away, still tender, though his voice was hoarse. "Go back first. I need some time alone." Ella felt a sting in her nose as tears streamed down her face. "I won't leave. I want to stay with you." Bartley swallowed hard, closed his eyes, and spoke again. "You go back to City B first." Ella knew Bartley's temperament. What he said was final. But this time, she didn't want to agree. "Bartley, whether Althea has unspeakable difficulties or other reasons, that's her choice. Not your fault. Have you forgotten? You promised me you'd stay with me for a lifetime, that you'd never betray me. Together for a lifetime." Bartley's face was pale, his thin lips completely devoid of color. "I'm sorry. I don't want to hear I'm sorry. I want you to marry me." Ella interrupted him, gripping his hand tightly once more. "Bartley, Althea is gone, but you still have me. My love for you is no less than Althea's. I'm also willing to give my life for you." "What do you mean by risking your life for Bartley?" Standing outside, Destiny, who hadn't left, finally couldn't hold back and walked in upon hearing this. "Ella, can't you see? Bartley doesn't like you at all. He married you only because you've taken care of him for over a decade, only because you need him. You say you love him no less than Althea. Althea was willing to let him go for his happiness, keeping the truth from him and giving him to you. And you." Ella, tears streamed down her face. She yelled at Destiny, "Shut up. Do you know how much I love Bartley? I'm 35 now. I've been with Bartley since right after graduation, and I've silently loved him for 14 years. 14 years. I've never been in a single relationship. Even when someone pursued me, I always refused. I just wanted to quietly stay by Bartley's side, and now he's finally agreed to be with me. Why are you making me give him up to a dead person?" Destiny looked at Ella's current state and stopped trying to persuade her. She said calmly, "If this makes you happy, then so be it." After speaking, Destiny turned her gaze to Bartley. "Bartley, Althea's dying wish was for you to live a happy life. You don't need to feel guilty about her death. Live well with Ella. While you were unconscious, I've already reburied Althea. Remember her words, she's changed her heart. Don't go looking for her." Destiny turned and left after saying everything. Outside the hospital, heavy snow fell in flurries. Destiny took out her phone to find a stream of notifications. Actress Althea has truly left this world. Althea, our white moonlight, will never return. So she was actually ill, that's why she faked the affair and left Bartley. True love must be like this. Destiny scrolled through the notifications. The internet was now flooded with tributes to Althea. Only after Althea's death did they begin to regret losing her. At this moment, Althea's death dominated the top 3 trending topics. Netizens were moved to tears, commenting, "Why didn't you tell us earlier? So she really passed away. So she loved Bartley that much. How heartbroken Bartley must be knowing the truth. Althea shouldn't be treated this way. Bartley also has the right to know. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have insulted Althea before. I apologize, if possible. I truly wish she had lied this time, but if she had lied, you'd surely scold her again." A tear fell from Destiny's eye. "Althea, did you see that? You've truly amazed the whole world this time." At this moment, she suddenly wanted to do something. Destiny publicly disclosed the will Althea had made before her death. Althea donated the majority of her estate to society. At the same time, Destiny also released a video Althea had recorded before passing away. Althea sat on the hospital bed, speaking to herself into the phone. Listen to my story, and you might realize how fortunate you are. When I was 13, my mother passed away in a car accident, and less than 6 months later, my younger brother also left us due to illness. After that, my father never spoke another word. A year later, he was gone too. I had no choice but to work part-time while studying, struggling alone in the entertainment industry. After finally becoming a somewhat well-known celebrity and finding the love of my life, I was diagnosed with malignant stomach cancer at the age of 23. Althea spoke while unable to suppress her coughing. She didn't know what to say either, she just wanted to voice everything on her mind. Speaking of the love of her life, her eyes grew slightly moist. The netizens were right, never accompany someone as they grow up, because when they've grown, they might be gone. Bartley grew up with me. But it's a pity all his efforts came to nothing. As she spoke, Althea looked at the screen again, as if seeing Bartley. She spoke word by word. Bartley, some people come into your life just to accompany you for part of the journey. The road ends here now, it's time for her to go. Fortunately, before she left, someone took her place. Your next journey will be entrusted to the next person who loves you. In the very end, Althea faced the camera and forced out a beautiful smile. I hope everyone can find someone they truly love and live a happy life, and I'm off to find my own happiness too. Once this video was released, the internet went wild. They kept leaving messages for Althea, that account which would never respond again. Althea, you'll surely find your happiness in another world. This message quickly went viral. Meanwhile, in the hospital, Ella looked at those trending topics and comments, feeling an unprecedented sense of panic in her heart. She then turned her gaze to Bartley. Bartley had already calmed down, acting as if nothing had happened, eating, drinking, and sleeping normally. The next day, they checked out of the hospital. As they left the hospital, Ella sat beside Bartley and asked him nervously, Bartley, where are we going? Back to City B, Bartley said. Ella asked him in disbelief, really? Bartley nodded. What about our wedding? Ella couldn't help but ask. Bartley remained silent for a long time before looking at Ella again. His eyes filled with guilt. I'm sorry, I can't marry you. Last night, Ella didn't sleep a wink, though she already knew the answer in her heart. Hearing Bartley say it out loud was still unbearable. What do you take me for? You say you'll marry me when you want, and call it off just as easily. Ella clenched her fists, nails digging deep into her palms. If you loved Althea so much, you should never have agreed to be with me in the first place. More than 4 months ago, Ella saw Bartley being abandoned by Althea and confessed her feelings to him. She never expected that Bartley would actually agree. That day, she was happy for a very, very long time. Even though she knew Bartley was hurt and wanted revenge against Althea, she was still overjoyed. But now, Bartley is breaking the contract without hesitation. I won't agree to separate from you. Love is too extreme, either possess it completely or destroy it. Bartley looked at Ella. But I don't love you. From beginning to end, I've only loved Althea. Ella noticed that this was the first time Bartley had looked at her seriously. For 14 years, Bartley had treated her like an ordinary assistant. Only now did his eyes truly hold her image. She was so unwilling. If you loved her so deeply, then where did I go wrong? When she was alive, you were willing to marry me. After her death, why can't you truly let her go and be with me properly? Bartley knew she wouldn't give up until she hit a wall, and added, because at that time, I thought she no longer loved me. Long ago, I told her that if you stopped loving me, I would try to stop loving you too. Bartley gently wiped away the tear stains on Ella's face. I'm sorry for hurting you. I'll compensate you materially. My assets in City B will be transferred to your name. It's the only thing I can give you. Ella couldn't stop her tears. Should I be happy now? Without even getting married, I've acquired wealth I could never earn in my lifetime. Bartley remained silent. Ella had cried until her eyes were swollen. Bartley, don't you like me even a little? I may not be as beautiful as Althea, nor as talented as Althea, but I've followed you for 14 years. Haven't you ever felt anything for me? Even for a moment? Bartley didn't want to lie to her. No. Love is visible, and so is the absence of love. He felt Ella only gratitude for her companionship, not romantic love. Returning from City A to City B, Bartley called off the wedding. Then, he gave his property here to Ella. Then, he resolutely flew back to City A. After returning to City A, Bartley bought the apartment that Althea had sold. It wasn't large, but it was the little home that Althea and Bartley had bought when they first got together. Even after Althea and Bartley became wealthy, they continued to live there. Bartley pushed open the door and walked in. The furnishings in the apartment remained unchanged, except Althea's personal belongings were gone. He walked to the master bedroom and deftly opened the nightstand drawer. Inside, as expected, lay a small diary. Althea had a habit of keeping a diary. Bartley used to want to read it, but she always refused. A diary is my secret. If you read it, it wouldn't be a secret anymore. Because of this, the diary was even locked. Bartley carefully picked up the diary, relieved it hadn't been thrown away. He skillfully slid the combination lock. The password was actually quite simple, 520105. Althea had a poor memory. Most of her passwords were 520 plus Bartley's birthday. Click. The combination lock clicked open. Bartley saw the delicate handwriting inside. July 14, 2018. Sunny, Bartley actually likes me. He even confessed to me. Oh my god, I'm so happy. So happy. January 1st, 2019. Heavy snow, finally. Someone is spending New Year's Day with me. So happy. March 12th, 2019. Rainy. Eating barbecue with Bartley on a heavy rainy day. Got photographed by his fans, and they're all cursing me. Sigh. If only Bartley and I weren't celebrities. Bartley felt an inexplicable sting in his heart. He continued flipping through the pages one by one. November 1st, 2022. Light snow. Not happy today. Have to go shoot. Won't get to see Bartley. Suddenly Bartley's gaze fixed on the one behind. December 3rd, 2022. Heavy snow. The snow is so heavy today. But this is the happiest moment of my life. I was trapped on the mountain. Bartley came to find me. There's no one else here, just him and me. If only time could stop today. I wish so much to be with him forever. Bartley suddenly remembered last month when Althea was interviewed by a reporter. Tell me, which period of your life would you most want to preserve? Althea answered without hesitation, the winter of 2022. The winter of 2022 wasn't just when Althea and Charlie first met during the closed filming of a TV series. Or, with heavy snow blocking the mountains, go find Althea yourself, trapped with Althea in a mountain cabin for 10 days and nights. At this moment, Bartley's hand holding the diary trembled. How could he forget? How could he forget these 10 days? How could he think Althea wanted to preserve was the time spent with Charlie? Bartley's throat ached painfully as he forced himself to keep reading. January 3rd, 2023. Overcast. What a fucking life. Got sick before I even had my fill of living. January 16th. 2023, light rain. Destiny says there's special medicine abroad and has contacted a specialist for treatment. There's hope now, going to the hospital quietly for treatment. If I recover, the first thing I'll do is marry Bartley. December 7th, 2023, light snow. Does it hurt again today? Wasn't the surgery successful? It must be an illusion. Althea, you'll definitely be fine. September 6th, 2024, heavy rain. It's spreading. I'm not happy. December 9th, 2024, snow, forget it, I won't treat it anymore. December 30th, 2024, snow. Bartley proposed to me again, but I can't marry him anymore. I can't let him become a widower. March 1st, 2025, sunny, what should I do? I'm coughing up blood again. I haven't married Bartley yet. I don't want to die. July 2nd, 2025, rain. I can't delay him any longer. Althea, you must be strong. July 14th, 2025, rain. Happy 7th anniversary, Bartley, August 10th, 2025, sunny. Today I finally gathered the courage to break up with Bartley. Good, I finally let him go. Those who are about to die shouldn't crave love. He will surely be very happy, very happy. Later on, Althea stopped keeping a diary. Bartley only saw that on every page afterward, Althea had filled with his name, Bartley, Bartley. Some of the papers still bore traces of blood. After holding it in for so long, Bartley finally couldn't hold back his sobs any longer. Althea. His fingertips repeatedly traced over Althea's handwriting left before her death, his voice hoarse beyond recognition. Why keep it from me? Why didn't you tell me? Althea, you've gone too far this time. Why didn't you tell me? Then the room fell into hollow silence, with only the mournful wind outside the window answering him. For several days in a row, Bartley barely closed his eyes. Holding that diary, he kept flipping through it again and again, yet with each reading, he realized how little he had trusted Althea. Althea has been with herself since she was 19. At that time, both her parents had passed away, and her younger brother had also left. Yet she remained vibrant, never complaining to anyone or projecting negativity. She was optimistic, keeping everything buried deep in her heart. The wind and snow outside were exceptionally fierce that night, and at this very moment, many people began mourning Althea. Among them, some even left messages for Bartley. Bartley, did you really call off your wedding with Ella? You two were truly in love. What a pity. Bartley, the departed are gone. You must still look forward. Actually, Ella is quite pitiful too. After Althea left, her wedding was called off. Bartley, if you've fallen for Ella, could you continue the relationship? I don't think Althea would blame you. Althea certainly wouldn't blame Bartley for being with someone else, when she was alive. She hoped Bartley would forget her and find happiness with another, yet she never knew Bartley's devotion to her was no less than hers. Having left this world in such a way, Bartley could never forget her. Bartley paid no attention to the online comments. For 3 full days and nights, he stayed in the apartment he once shared with Althea. In the early hours of the 4th day, Ella barged in with a group of people. The Bartley she saw was unusually haggard. The man seemed devoid of any vitality, showing no emotion even when Ella arrived. Bartley, Ella looked at him with aching heart. Bartley, are you okay? Let me take you to the hospital. Bartley finally turned his gaze to her. What brings you here? Ella felt a pang in her chest. I'm worried about you. As she spoke, she couldn't help but embrace Bartley. Bartley, I won't be your wife anymore. I'll remain your assistant. These past few days, Ella had come to understand, if she couldn't be Bartley's lover, then she would stay by his side forever as his colleague. Just like before, Bartley pushed her away again, his eyes filled with impatience. I don't need an assistant anymore. Ella was puzzled. What? I've made up my mind, I'm quitting the industry, Bartley replied. Ella froze for a moment upon hearing this. Then she couldn't help shaking her head. Can we not? Bartley staggered to his feet. Ella reached for his hand again. Bartley frowned slightly. I've given you the compensation I owe you. There's nothing more I can offer. Leave. From now on, let's act like strangers. He shook off Ella's hand, his expression growing increasingly impatient. Ella teared up, following him closely. I won't leave. You haven't eaten yet, have you? I brought you some food. Have a bite. Okay, get out. Bartley's eyes were filled with indifference. Or else, I'll call the police. Ella froze. She thought Bartley wouldn't do it. But then she saw Bartley dial the emergency number. Ella reluctantly left. Bartley, I'm going. Don't get worked up. If you need anything, just tell me. After stepping out of the house, she gazed at the endless white snow outside, feeling as if a lifetime had passed, just when she was about to be with Bartley. Why has everything changed now? It's all Althea's fault. Why did she have to fall ill and pass away? Why couldn't she have truly betrayed Bartley? Ella couldn't figure it out. But she was genuinely worried about Bartley, so she took a cab to the company and found Destiny's office. Without knocking, Ella walked in and saw Destiny packing up, as if preparing to leave. Destiny, what's going on? Althea is gone. What's the point of me staying here anymore? Destiny only became a manager because of Althea. All these years, Althea was the only artist she ever represented. Ella didn't care about her coming or going, but instead pleaded, could you help me persuade Bartley? Destiny paused while packing and looked at her in confusion. What's wrong with Bartley? He's locked himself in Althea's old apartment, refusing to eat or drink. I can see he's lost weight, Ella said slowly. Destiny felt nothing for Bartley and couldn't care less. What does that have to do with me? How is this not your business? If it weren't for you and Althea deceiving him, would he have ended up like this? Ella retorted, you can't be so selfish in life. Selfish. Destiny curled her lips. So Althea was in the wrong. Of course, if it weren't for her, Bartley would have married me. Ella shot back without hesitation. Slap. Destiny slapped her without hesitation. Ella, why don't you take a look in the mirror and see what you really look like? Bartley is a top-tier celebrity after all. How could he possibly choose you? Have you no self-awareness? You're the living proof that ugly people cause the most trouble. This slap is payback for when you hit Althea. Destiny didn't want to hit Ella at first, but couldn't stand seeing her prancing around like that. Ella was suddenly struck, her cheek burning. Destiny continued, take a good look in the mirror. I used to feel a bit sorry for you, but now I find you utterly disgusting. Bartley already called off the engagement, yet you still shamelessly cling to him. Have you no dignity? Bartley doesn't want you anymore, and you still blame his ex-girlfriend. Let me put it this way, people like you are just love-starved. You need therapy. Ella was suddenly confronted by Destiny's words, completely stunned. She clenched her fists. Yes, I'm shameless. But are you really going to watch Bartley die? Destiny fell silent. An hour later, Destiny and Ella went to the apartment together. But when they entered, it was completely empty. Ella hurriedly called Bartley, but all she heard was a mechanical female voice on the other end. Sorry. The number you dialed cannot be answered at the moment. Bartley blocked her. At this moment, Ella had never felt so wronged. After all these years with Bartley, how could he just cut ties like this? Destiny saw this and also called Bartley. The phone took a while to connect before a voice answered. What is it? Hearing Bartley's voice, Destiny let out a sigh of relief. Where are you right now? Bartley didn't answer. Destiny could faintly hear the sound of wind through the phone. Bartley, don't you dare do anything foolish. Remember, Althea wanted you to live well. Did you know, Althea once told me that her mother died in a car accident, and soon after, her brother passed away too. Her father never spoke another word after that. A year later, he followed them in death, Destiny said with a trembling voice. She didn't want you to end up like her father, that's why she kept it from you all this time. If you do bad things, she'll be so sad watching from heaven. There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. Ella, seeing this situation, couldn't hold back anymore and took Destiny's phone. Bartley, do you remember what you once said to Althea right in front of me? You say it. I, Bartley, swear I will never love Althea again in this lifetime, and will remain loyal to Ella forever. If I break this oath, may I die a horrible death. Destiny heard Ella's statement, looking at Ella with disbelief and intense disgust in her eyes. Ella, however, felt no remorse. Unwilling to accept defeat, she continued, I want you to fulfill your promise, to stay with me for a lifetime. Bartley's voice finally came through after a long delay. I understand. Then, the call was abruptly ended. Ella clutched her phone, wanting to call back, but was stopped by Destiny. Are you out of your mind? Why would you say those things to him now? Ella had reddened eyes as she whispered softly. I only know that when he says something, he means it, even if he didn't truly love her. As long as he stayed by her side for a lifetime, that would be enough. Back when Althea and Bartley were together, Destiny had never liked Ella. Being a woman herself, she could tell Ella had feelings for Bartley. Ella would deliberately or unintentionally sow discord between Bartley and Althea, even secretly pursuing Bartley. But at that time, Bartley was deeply in love with Althea, and in Destiny's eyes, Ella wasn't even considered a rival to Althea, so she paid no attention. I never expected her to be so disgusting now. Destiny tried calling Bartley again, but the call wouldn't go through. They searched everywhere for Bartley, but couldn't find him. Soon after, news broke online that Bartley was retiring from the industry. The internet was filled with sighs of regret. Bartley, why are you leaving the industry? Why else? Of course it's for Althea. Sigh, it was all a misunderstanding. Who would have thought Althea would just leave like that? If I were Bartley, I wouldn't be able to get over this either. But they weren't even married. After grieving for a while, one still has to live their own life properly. The internet transforms, yet people only want to see what they wish to see. At this very moment, Bartley arrived at the place where he first met Althea. The tree-lined avenue of the university, thin and gaunt, wearing sunglasses and a mask, he blended into the crowd, indistinguishable from ordinary people. Just then, a figure accidentally bumped into him. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. The girl hurriedly apologized. Bartley stopped in his tracks. It's all right. Then he looked at the girl and froze completely. Althea. People around them all turned to look in their direction, their eyes filled with peculiar expressions. Bartley grabbed the girl's hand. Althea. The girl's face looked exactly like Althea in her youth. She seemed puzzled. Sir, who are you? Bartley felt a lump in his throat when he realized she didn't recognize him. I'm Bartley. Don't you remember me? Bartley. The girl murmured the name, shaking her head with a smile. Sir, I don't know you. Are you mistaking me for someone else? Bartley clutched her hand, unwilling to let go. How could I possibly mistake you, Althea? I was wrong. I didn't even know you were sick. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. He kept apologizing over and over. Seeing this, the girl couldn't bear it. Sir, don't be sad. Don't cry. I'm sorry. Althea, I'm sorry. Bartley pulled her into a tight embrace. Students passing by couldn't help but glance at him sideways. It's all right. It's okay. I forgive you. It's fine. The girl gently patted Bartley's back. Bartley was dazed. Althea, didn't you leave? Why? The girl took his hand, suddenly seeming to recognize him again. Because I couldn't bear to leave you, afraid you'd be crying alone in this place. Let's go. Shall we grab a drink? Alcohol always lifts the mood. Bartley always appeared unapproachable, mature and composed in others' eyes. Yet at this very moment, he became exceptionally docile and obedient. All right, let's go for a drink. After drinking, let's go find Destiny. Destiny has been really worried about you these days. You don't know. Her eyes were red from crying. Bartley pulled the girl's hand as they walked forward, saying to her, and about Ella, at the time, I was just being stubborn. That's why I agreed to be with her. No matter what happens in the future, I won't do this again. I've made it clear to her and compensated her. The girl listened silently to his words and nodded. Good, as long as it's clear. The girl from her family liked you too. You shouldn't have hurt her. Bartley nodded again. I know. Though he was older than Althea, sometimes he felt Althea was more mature than him. The two arrived at the bar. Bartley had booked the entire place and even ordered a low-alcohol cocktail for Althea. Though somewhat puzzled, the owner agreed. Glass after glass of wine, Bartley drank while telling Althea everything that had happened during this time. Do you know how much I wanted to hear you say you regretted it when I announced my engagement to someone else? Just say the word, and I'd come back to you immediately. Althea listened silently, nodding as she gently patted his head. Why is my Bartley so immature? You always said I was childish, but I think Bartley you're the childish one. Bartley looked at Althea's familiar gentle face, his eyes turning red. But didn't you say you were tired of me being old? Althea shook her head. How could that be? No matter how old you are, you'll always be the most handsome in my eyes. Bartley curved his thin lips. Althea. We must grow old together. Althea raised her hand to wipe the tear at the corner of Bartley's eye. Her voice was hoarse as she said, Silly, we've already grown old together. In the winter of 2022, our hair had already turned white. Today we stand in the snow together. In this lifetime our hair turns white as one. Bartley nodded heavily after hearing this. Yes, we've already gone white. Alright, let's have a few more drinks and then head back. You're too exhausted and need rest. Althea coaxed him softly. Bartley nodded again. Alright, I'll listen to you. Listen to Althea. He finished the drink in front of him before staggering out of the bar. Outside, a vast snow was falling, and Bartley carefully held Althea's hand. Althea, are you cold? Althea shook her head. Not cold. Bartley, fearing she might disappear again, held her hand all the way home. Finally, they arrived home. Bartley pushed open the door and saw Destiny and Ella both sitting inside. Bartley, you're finally back. Ella quickly rushed toward Bartley. Bartley pushed her away at the sight. Ella, why are you still here? Ella explained. I was worried about you. You don't need to worry about me anymore. Althea has come back to life. She'll get jealous. Bartley feared Ella would make Althea misunderstand, so he added, from now on, let's pretend we don't know each other. But Ella looked utterly shocked upon hearing his words. Even Destiny standing nearby froze in astonishment. Bartley, what did you just say? Bartley then looked at Destiny and hurriedly said to her, Destiny, Althea isn't dead, she's right beside me. Can you see her? As he spoke, he pointed to Althea beside him. Althea, now looking somewhat pale, gazed at him and said, Bartley. Bartley took her hand again. Althea, you must be eager to chat with Destiny, right? It's been so long since you best friends met. I'll give you some time alone. After speaking, he turned to Ella. Why are you still here? Ella froze in place. Bartley finally lost all patience and dialed the police. Someone has trespassed into my house. Please take her away. He had already made it clear to Ella that he didn't love her. Since Ella insisted on clinging to him, then she shouldn't blame him for being ruthless. After finishing all this, Bartley gently said to Althea, Althea, don't be afraid. No one will hurt you from now on. I'll send her to the police station, so she won't intrude into our lives anymore. Bartley, his eyes were filled with deep affection. Yet in the eyes of Ella and Destiny, he had always been talking to himself. Bartley, are you okay? Destiny cautiously stepped forward. Althea is gone. How could she possibly come back to life? Althea was the one she personally sent away. The dead cannot be brought back to life. Ella also stepped forward. Bartley, don't scare me. Bartley, seeing them both speak this way, pointed to the Althea beside him. She's right here. Can't you see her? Destiny picked up her phone and dialed the ambulance. Bartley, calm down. Bartley looked at Althea beside him. She was clearly still there. Althea, say something to them. They can't see you. Althea's face was unusually pale, her entire figure growing increasingly faint in Bartley's eyes. Bartley then heard her say, Bartley, I have to go. Don't be sad. I want you to be happy. Althea placed her hand on Bartley's face again. I don't blame you. You've done nothing wrong by me. Please don't blame yourself. As she finished speaking, her body dissipated like scattered starlight. Bartley watched this scene unfold, his eyes filled with shock. He hurriedly reached out to embrace Althea, but this time, he embraced nothing but air. Althea, a year later. Bartley still believed the Althea he had seen was real. Perhaps it wasn't Althea who had come back to life, but her soul briefly accompanied her for a while, then departed again. This past year, Bartley has spent in the hospital. He's retired from the industry. He couldn't keep any food down, surviving each day solely on 4 drips. Destiny would occasionally visit him. If Althea saw you like this, how heartbroken she would be. Bartley comforted her. It's alright, at least this way I'm not in pain. Destiny didn't understand, and at the same time felt some regret. I should have told you the truth from the beginning. At least you were able to be happily together in the end. Bartley shook his head. Actually, this is good too. She left with peace of mind. She didn't have to worry about how I would manage alone in this world. Destiny spoke with a hoarse voice. But Althea's purpose wasn't like this. Bartley was exhausted, his voice barely audible. It doesn't matter anymore. If she hadn't kept it from me, I would have followed her in leaving this world. Bartley gazed at the scenery outside the window, his thoughts drifting back to the winter of 2022. Once, Althea told me, if she lost me, she would surely die. I forgot to tell her, so would I. Destiny could no longer speak. Before leaving, she couldn't help but say, Ella is getting married. Bartley showed no emotional ripple. Congratulations to her for finding her own happiness. Destiny couldn't help clenching her fist. This woman once claimed how much she liked you, yet married within a year after you ignored her. Bartley smiled. That's perfectly normal. Since I didn't like her, should I expect her to remain chaste for me? Destiny choked. But she also took your property. That makes me feel even more justified, Bartley replied. Destiny couldn't help but laugh upon hearing his response. I feel like you're quite similar to Althea. He and Althea will be happy together. Everyone has different definitions of happiness. Merely being alive doesn't guarantee happiness. 1 month later, Bartley has passed away. He was buried beside Althea. Destiny saw Ella wearing a mask during the memorial service. At this moment, Ella was already pregnant. She looked at Bartley's tombstone and the one beside it belonging to Althea, her throat tightening with emotion. Bartley, I hope you meet Althea over there. With that, she turned her gaze to Althea. Althea, I'm sorry, I was just too jealous of you back then. I was afraid you'd take Bartley away from me. That's why I was so hostile toward you. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have laid hands on you. Ella stroked the fetus in her womb and added, I'm married now. 3 months pregnant, and I've come to realize everyone has their own destiny. I used to be too obsessed with changing things, too fixated on Bartley, Ella murmured to herself at length, then turned her gaze to Destiny. Destiny, thank you for scolding me awake before. Destiny said nothing. She placed a bouquet of flowers on the tombstones of Althea and Bartley respectively, then left. Only now did she realize that the truly happy one was still the selfish person. Sometimes, we who live must think more for ourselves. The end.